So I really think that it's time.
Do you want to hang out and build this race car, or are you wanting to go now?
So it's time to go.
Fast and Loud wasn't just another reality show. It was a full-blown adrenaline rush for anyone who loves classic cars, big builds, and even bigger personalities. At the heart of it all was Richard Rawlings, the fast-talking, always-moving mastermind behind Gas Monkey Garage. Every episode felt like a wild ride, with tight deadlines, risky buys, and crazy custom jobs that kept fans coming back for more. But over time, things started to shift. The vibe changed, people came and went, and eventually the show just disappeared. So, what really happened behind the scenes? Why did Fast and Loud go off the air? Was it drama, burnout, or just the end of an era? If you've ever wondered why the engines stopped roaring and the cameras stopped rolling, you're not alone. This article digs into the twists, turns, and unanswered questions behind one of TV's most addictive automotive shows. Let's get into it. How Rawlings became an overnight gearhead icon. In 2012, a loud, fast-talking guy with slicked-back hair and a love for cars burst onto TV screens and completely shook up reality television. His name? Richard Rawlings. The show? Fast and Loud. It was raw, it was wild, and it was exactly what gearheads didn't know they needed. Before Fast and Loud, Rawlings was already hustling in the car world. He had started Gas Monkey Garage back in 2002, turning it into a legit custom car shop. But the shop was local, popular in Dallas, sure, but not a global brand. That all changed when the Discovery Channel gave him and his team a shot at reality TV. When Fast and Loud premiered, viewers were instantly hooked. It wasn't just about restoring old cars, it was about the energy, the deals, the drama, and the personalities. Richard brought a certain spark to the screen. Part salesman, part car lover, part rock star. He didn't play by the rules, and that's what made it so fun to watch. Rawlings' chemistry with Aaron Kaufman, the shop's bearded mechanical genius, made the show even better. They were complete opposites. Richard was the loud, fast-talking business brain, while Aaron was the quiet, precise builder. But it worked. They'd find beat-up cars in barns, negotiate tough buys, argue about timelines, and then bring those junkers back to life with killer custom builds. It was addictive. What made Richard Rawlings stand out, though, was his hustle. The man could sell anything, a busted-up hot rod, a beat-up old Camaro, even his own brand. Gas Monkey Garage quickly became more than just a shop. It became a logo, a lifestyle. T-shirts, hats, energy drinks, even a bar and grill. Richard turned it all into a business empire. By the end of the first season, Rawlings wasn't just a guy who liked cars. He was a full-blown TV personality. And people loved him. The attitude, the style, the "get you some of that" catchphrase. He brought flash to a scene that had been mostly underground or low-key. Suddenly, classic cars were cool again, and flipping them was high entertainment. The success of Fast and Loud wasn't just luck. Richard knew how to play the game. He mixed car culture with entertainment in a way that felt fresh. He made the world of custom cars feel accessible, like anyone could jump in, get dirty, and turn something old into something amazing. Dodge endorsement deal. Smart brand move or overexposure? By 2014, Richard Rawlings was riding high. Fast and Loud was a huge hit on the Discovery Channel. Gas Monkey Garage was cranking out custom builds non-stop, and Rawlings himself had become a household name among car fans. His loud personality, flashy style, and business hustle had made him one of the most recognizable faces in the custom car world. So when Dodge came knocking with an endorsement deal, It seemed like the perfect fit. The partnership kicked off in a big way. Rawlings started appearing in national TV ads for Dodge, driving Hellcats, burning rubber, and hyping up the power of American muscle. It was loud, fast, and totally on-brand. Dodge wanted to connect with younger buyers and tap into the growing custom car culture, and Rawlings was the guy to make that happen. After all, he already had a massive fan base and a cool, rebellious image. At first, the ads were a hit. Fans loved seeing Rawlings behind the wheel of a Challenger or Charger, doing donuts and grinning like a kid in a candy store. It felt real. Unlike some celebrity car endorsements that felt stiff or forced, Rawlings actually lived the life. He wasn't faking excitement. This was a guy who genuinely loved horsepower, speed, and building badass cars. But as the years rolled on, some people started asking a different question. Was it too much? From 2014 to 2017, Rawlings was everywhere. Fast and Loud was still airing new seasons, Garage Rehab had just launched, Gas Monkey energy drinks were hitting shelves, his restaurants were popping up, and now Dodge ads were running across TV and online. For some fans, it felt like Rawlings was becoming more brand than builder. The guy who once felt like a gearhead underdog was starting to look more like a corporate mascot. Critics started calling it overexposure. The thinking was that Rawlings had spread himself too thin. Instead of focusing on what made him famous, building and flipping cars with style, he was showing up in commercials, making business deals, and promoting products left and right. Some longtime Fast and Loud fans even started to lose interest, saying the show had shifted focus from the garage to the marketing machine. Still, by 2017, the buzz was starting to cool. The commercials became less frequent, and Rawlings began to refocus on his own projects. Garage Rehab was picking up steam, and behind the scenes, there were hints that Fast and Loud might be nearing its end. The Dodge partnership wrapped up quietly, without much fanfare. The bearded genius behind Fast and Loud. If you've ever watched Fast and Loud, there's one guy who probably stood out right away, Aaron Kaufman. With his epic beard, quiet attitude, and insane skills under the hood, Aaron quickly became a fan favorite. While Richard Rawlings was the loud, high-energy frontman of Gas Monkey Garage, Aaron was the brains behind the builds, the guy who actually brought the wild car ideas to life. Aaron started working on cars when he was just a kid. He had a natural talent for mechanics and a serious passion for custom builds. Before Fast and Loud hit TV screens in 2012, he was already turning wrenches at Gas Monkey Garage, helping Richard bring cool old cars back to life. But once the show aired, everything changed. Suddenly, millions of people were watching Aaron work and loving it. What made Aaron so popular wasn't just that he could fix anything, it was how he did it. He wasn't flashy, he wasn't loud, he was calm, focused, and super knowledgeable. Fans loved watching him turn rusty, forgotten cars into beautiful machines. He brought real craftsmanship to every project, whether it was a muscle car, hot rod, or custom truck. While the show often focused on deadlines and drama, Aaron was all about the build. But being in the spotlight wasn't exactly Aaron's thing. As the show got bigger, so did the pressure. Tighter deadlines, more filming, brand deals, and non-stop schedules started to wear on him. Aaron wasn't just a mechanic, he was an artist. And the fast-paced world of reality TV didn't always give him the space or time to build things the way he wanted. Over time, fans noticed something was off. Aaron looked tired, sometimes frustrated, and less excited about the work. It became clear he wanted more freedom, to take on projects that challenged him, not just the ones that made good TV. And in 2017, After years on the show, Aaron finally walked away from Fast and Loud. Aaron Kaufman's growing frustration. Were tensions brewing behind the scenes? If you were a fan of Fast and Loud, chances are you weren't just watching for Richard Rawlings, you were also tuning in for Aaron Kaufman. With his signature beard, quiet confidence, and insane mechanical skills, Aaron quickly became a fan favorite. He was the mastermind behind many of the coolest builds at Gas Monkey Garage, and his passion for cars was obvious every time he picked up a wrench. But by 2015, people started noticing something different. Aaron didn't seem into it anymore. So, what was going on? Let's rewind a bit. Fast and Loud had become a hit show, and Gas Monkey Garage was booming. The builds were bigger, the timelines were tighter, and the pressure was on. That kind of fast-paced TV grind looks exciting on screen. But behind the scenes, it's a whole different story. Working in a real garage is hard enough. Working under TV deadlines, where every second counts and everything has to be camera-ready, is next-level stressful. For someone like Aaron, who took a lot of pride in doing things the right way, that pressure may have started to wear thin. He wasn't just slapping together flashy cars for show. He wanted quality, creativity, and craftsmanship. But as the series gained popularity, the business side of things started to take over. More sponsors, more brand deals, tighter shoot schedules, and less time for doing what he truly loved. By 2015, viewers began picking up on small signs that Aaron might be growing frustrated. He looked tired, seemed less involved in certain builds, and sometimes clashed with Richard on the direction of a project. The two had very different styles. Richard was the loud, deal-making face of the shop, always thinking about what would sell and how fast they could flip it. Aaron, on the other hand, was the artist, someone who cared more about the how than the how fast. There were also rumors going around that Aaron wasn't happy with how much creative freedom he had. He reportedly wanted to take on more unique, complex projects, stuff that pushed the limits of what a custom car could be. But those kinds of builds didn't always fit the quick turnaround, budget-conscious format of Fast and Loud. Over time, that may have left him feeling stuck and unfulfilled. And then there was the fame. Aaron never seemed like the type who craved the spotlight. While Richard embraced being a TV star and businessman, Aaron seemed more comfortable behind the scenes, just doing his thing. With the cameras rolling all the time, that kind of constant attention might have taken a toll. It's one thing to build a car you love, it's another to do it while people are filming your every move. By late 2015, it was clear something had to give. Fans speculated online, wondering if Aaron was planning to leave. The show didn't address it directly, but the vibe was different. The fun, laid-back dynamic between Richard and Aaron had started to feel strained. People were asking, is Aaron okay? Or is he getting tired of all this? And they weren't wrong. Though Aaron didn't leave the show officially until 2017, many fans believe the seeds of that decision were planted back in 2015. That's when the frustration really started to show. Garage rehab pitch. Was Rawlings looking to exit Fast and Loud? Already? By 2016, Richard Rawlings was riding high. His hit show, Fast and Loud, had made him a household name among car lovers. With his signature sunglasses, loud personality, and love for fast cars, Richard had built not just a business, but a brand. But behind the scenes, things were shifting. That year, Rawlings pitched a new show to Discovery Channel called Garage Rehab. The big question? Was this just a smart move to grow his empire? Or was he already looking for his way out of Fast and Loud? Let's rewind a little. Fast and Loud had been on the air since 2012 and quickly became one of Discovery's top-rated reality shows. The format was simple. Richard would buy old, beat-up cars and bring them back to life with the help of his crew at Gas Monkey Garage. The star builder was Aaron Kaufman, a laid-back, bearded mechanic who fans loved. Their chemistry worked. Richard was the showman. Aaron was the wizard behind the builds. But as the years went on, things got more intense. Bigger builds, tighter deadlines, more cameras, and growing pressure from sponsors. That's when Garage Rehab came into the picture. The idea for Garage Rehab was simple, but smart. Richard would travel across the country and help struggling auto shops get back on their feet. Think of it like bar rescue, but for mechanics. He'd come in, identify the problems, usually money mismanagement, bad equipment, or poor leadership, and help turn the place around with a full makeover. He teamed up with garage designer Chris Stevens and project manager Russell Holmes. The trio would bring in tools, organize the workspace, and give the owners a second chance. The concept made sense. Richard had experience turning Gas Monkey into a success. He had a sharp business mind, knew what worked in the auto world, and had the TV presence to carry another show. But the timing of the pitch made people wonder, was this a new adventure alongside Fast and Loud? Or was it a backup plan? Some fans think Rawlings was already getting tired of the grind at Gas Monkey and the drama of reality TV. There were rumors that Aaron Kaufman was unhappy and thinking of leaving. When Garage Rehab finally aired in 2017, it got a pretty solid reception. Fans liked seeing how different garages struggled and how Richard's team stepped in to help. It wasn't about flashy cars this time. It was about saving small businesses. It showed a more serious, thoughtful side of Rawlings, even if he still kept his loud and confident attitude. In the end, maybe it wasn't about quitting Fast and Loud. It was about evolving. Richard Rawlings was smart enough to know that TV shows don't last forever. By pitching Garage Rehab, he proved that he wasn't just a one-show wonder. He was building a media empire, and this was the next step. Either way, 2016 marked a turning point. It was the year Richard Rawlings took a gamble on a new idea. Whether it was out of passion, strategy, or a bit of both, Garage Rehab showed that Rawlings wasn't done hustling. Aaron Kaufman quits, creative differences, or personal betrayal. If you were a fan of Fast and Loud, then you know Aaron Kaufman wasn't just another guy turning wrenches. He was the heart of the show for many viewers. With his big beard, calm attitude, and insane mechanical skills, Aaron became a fan favorite alongside Richard Rawlings. So when news broke in 2017 that Aaron was leaving the show, it shocked a lot of people. The big question was, did he leave because of creative differences? Or was there something deeper going on? To understand why this moment hit so hard, you have to look back at how Fast and Loud worked. The show was all about flipping old cars, buying them cheap, fixing them up fast, and selling them for a profit. Richard Rawlings was the flashy frontman, the business brain. Aaron was the quiet genius behind the builds, the guy who could take a rusty piece of junk and turn it into a dream machine. Their balance worked, at least for a while. But over time, things started to change. Aaron began to get more frustrated. He felt like the show was focusing too much on tight deadlines and not enough on craftsmanship. As he put it in later interviews, he wanted to take on more complicated, creative builds. But the fast-paced, TV-driven schedule didn't allow that. He didn't want to just crank out cars for camera time. He wanted to build something that lasted, something meaningful. On top of that, there were hints of tension behind the scenes. While Richard and Aaron seemed like a good team on TV, fans noticed Aaron didn't always look happy. Some said he looked tired, even checked out. Rumors started flying. Was there more to the story than just creative differences? When Aaron finally announced he was quitting in early 2017, he kept it professional. He said it was time to move on, to do things on his own terms. But fans couldn't help but wonder, did something happen between him and Richard? Was there a falling out? Richard Rawlings, for his part, seemed caught off guard by the departure. He made public comments saying he didn't see it coming and that he was devastated. But he also said he respected Aaron's decision and wished him well. Whether those words were genuine or just for the cameras is something fans still debate today. After leaving Fast and Loud, Aaron didn't disappear. In fact, he quickly announced his own show, Shifting Gears with Aaron Kaufman, which premiered in 2018. The show let him build the way he wanted to, slower, more detailed, and focused on the craft. It was clear that he was trying to stay true to his roots and do things differently than what he'd experienced at Gas Monkey Garage. Licensing the Gas Monkey name? Brilliant brand move? Or sellout strategy? Richard Rawlings took a bold new step with his famous brand. He started licensing the Gas Monkey name. For fans who had followed Fast and Loud for years, this move raised eyebrows. Was Rawlings making a smart business decision, or was he selling out the very brand that made him a household name? Richard Rawlings built Gas Monkey Garage into something much bigger than just a car shop. It became a brand, something people recognized instantly. From t-shirts and hats to restaurants and energy drinks, Gas Monkey was more than just about building hot rods. And in 2019, Richard decided to really push that brand by licensing the name to other companies. That meant others could pay to use the Gas Monkey name on their own products, from beer and tequila to branded car parts and more. On the business side, it looked like a genius move. At first, fans were excited to see the name pop up everywhere. Gas Monkey was becoming a lifestyle. You could sip a Gas Monkey drink at a bar, buy Gas Monkey merch at major stores, or spot the logo at events and races. Rawlings even hinted at international partnerships, and suddenly the brand had a global reach. From a business angle, it looked like Richard was building an empire. But not everyone loved the shift. Some longtime fans started wondering if the Gas Monkey brand was being stretched too far. The garage and the builds, the things that made people fall in love with the show in the first place, were taking a back seat to flashy partnerships. Was the focus on cars slowly being replaced with just making money? Richard, however, didn't seem too bothered by the criticism. He often talked about how hard he worked to build the brand and how licensing it gave him the freedom to expand without being tied down to the shop every day. In many interviews, he said he wasn't just a gearhead, he was a businessman, and licensing was just the next phase. In the end, licensing the Gas Monkey name was definitely a power move. It showed how far Richard Rawlings had come, from turning wrenches in Dallas to building a name recognized around the world. Fast and Loud canceled. What really happened to Richard Rawlings? For years, Fast and Loud was one of the most popular car shows on TV. It had all the right ingredients: cool cars, funny moments, big builds, and of course, the loud and bold Richard Rawlings at the center of it all. But in 2020, after 8 years on air, the show suddenly came to a stop. No big announcement, no grand finale, just silence. Fans were left wondering, what happened? Did Discovery pull the plug, or did Richard walk away? Let's take a closer look at what went down and why this fan-favorite show came to an end. Fast and Loud first aired in 2012. Richard Rawlings and his Gas Monkey garage crew quickly became household names. People loved watching old, beat-up cars get turned into shiny hot rods. The show mixed car restoration with reality TV drama, making it fun even for folks who weren't die-hard gearheads. By the time 2020 rolled around, Fast and Loud had run for 16 seasons. That's a long run for any TV show, especially in the fast-changing world of reality television. But even with the years stacking up, fans were still tuning in. So why did it end? In December 2020, Richard Rawlings finally addressed the elephant in the room. In an interview, he revealed that Fast and Loud was officially over. And here's the twist. It wasn't Discovery's decision. According to Richard, he was the one who walked away. "I've exited Discovery," he said. "We're done. I'm a free agent." Richard explained that he wanted more control over his brand, content, and future projects. He'd spent years working under network contracts and now felt ready to try new things on his own terms. For him, it wasn't a sad ending. It was more like closing one chapter and starting a new one. While Richard said it was about creative freedom, fans and critics have come up with other possible reasons. Some say Fast and Loud had run its course. The storylines were starting to feel repetitive, and the original crew, especially fan favorites like Aaron Kaufman, were long gone. The show had a different vibe than it did in its early days. Others point to tension between Richard and the network. Over the years, there were rumors about behind-the-scenes disagreements, especially around how the show was edited and what direction it was taking. Richard's brand was growing fast outside of the show, with restaurants, merchandise, energy drinks, and more. Rawlings also mentioned that his contract with Discovery was extremely limiting. He explained, "I signed away all media rights, which meant he had almost no control over his own social media." He even mentioned that if he bought a car and wanted to post a photo of it, he couldn't do so unless someone from Discovery was involved. Just like Kaufman, Rawlings wanted more freedom to do his own thing, and going after that is part of what led to the end of Fast and Loud. By 2020, Discovery was shifting its focus to new car shows like Street Outlaws, Gold Rush, and Diesel Brothers. Maybe they felt Fast and Loud didn't fit their new direction anymore. Or maybe it just wasn't pulling the same ratings it used to. Alleged party lifestyle returns. Did fame change Richard for good? Rumors started flying that Richard Rawlings, the face of Fast and Loud and Gas Monkey Garage, had returned to living a wild, party-filled lifestyle. While he had always been known as a flashy, fun-loving guy, people began to wonder if fame had taken things too far this time. Photos of luxury vacations, late-night parties, and expensive cars popped up online. He looked like he was living it up, but not everyone was impressed. Some people felt like fame and money had changed him. The guy who once worked hard in the garage seemed to be more focused on flashy events and attention-grabbing moments than on building cars. Rumors also started about drama in his personal life. After remarrying Suzanne Mergel in 2015, the couple split again in 2019. By 2020, Richard was dating someone new and living large. Some fans wondered if his new lifestyle was part of what caused the breakup. Others questioned whether he was truly happy or just trying to hold on to the spotlight. A rekindled romance under pressure. Behind all the flashy cars, loud engines, and big business deals was a quieter story. His on-again, off-again love with Suzanne Marie Mergel. Their romance has had its ups and downs, but one chapter really caught fans' attention when they got remarried in 2015. It seemed like a sweet second chance, but many wondered, was it true love or just a temporary spark under pressure? Richard and Suzanne were actually married once before, way back in the late 90s. They split up after about 10 years, but even after the divorce, they stayed connected. As Richard's fame grew with the success of Fast and Loud, it surprised many when he and Suzanne decided to give love another shot. In January 2015, they quietly remarried in Cabo, Mexico. At first, it felt like a real fairy tale moment. Two people finding their way back to each other after years apart. But a lot had changed since their first marriage. Richard was now a TV star and a growing businessman. With Gas Monkey Garage, restaurants, merch, and even live music venues under his name, his world was moving fast. And with the cameras constantly rolling and fans watching his every move, keeping a strong relationship wasn't going to be easy. By 2019, things came to a breaking point again. Richard and Suzanne quietly split, with little public explanation. While neither shared many details, fans noticed the change. Suzanne stopped appearing in posts, and Richard seemed to shift his focus more toward his lifestyle brand and travel. The couple's second divorce felt like a quiet end to a loud love story.